G'day, Starlo here. The argument about whether to use braided gel-spun polyethylene lines versus monofilament lines, either nylon or fluorocarbon, is always a hot potato in fishing circles. Each style of line has its fans and its detractors. This is especially true in beach or surf fishing, and I think it'd be fair to say that the majority of Aussie beach fishers still spool their reels up with mono, just like their mums and dads did, and their grandparents before that. I'm a bit different in this regard. These days I use braid in at least 90% of my fishing, and surf casting is no exception. I'm not going to tell you that you should do exactly the same as me. You need to do what works for you and what you feel most comfortable with. Instead, I'm going to explain to you my rationale behind using braid in the surf and see if it strikes any chords with you. In my opinion, the two things that bug people most about beach fishing are the difficulties involved in detecting bites and that nagging doubt in the back of your mind that you're not quite casting far enough to reach the fish. Interestingly, a switch to braid tends to alleviate both of these issues. Let me explain. The greatest attributes of braid are the fact that it's incredibly thin for its actual strength and that it has virtually no inbuilt stretch. Being thin and strong means you can pack more braid onto a reel than mono, but it also means that braid has far less wind and water resistance or drag on it than mono. So it cuts through both air and water much more efficiently. That means longer, easier casts with the same or even smaller sinkers than you'd use on mono, and more importantly in my book, a lot better bite detection. Thicker, stretchier mono tends to get easily dragged around by the surge and current. This is one reason we're often told to use longer rods and hold them up high when feeling for bites, to keep as much line belly out of the water and the waves as possible. Although, of course, that also exposes that line to any breeze that might be blowing. Feeling bites in the surf can be quite tricky at the best of times. Is that the backwash or a breaking wave tugging on my line? Or a fish? Throw in some wind and a bit of current and it all gets even harder, but not so much with braid. Even relatively light taps and tugs tend to be transmitted directly to the rod and your fingertips, and when it comes to reacting and hopefully setting that hook, you're not hauling on a big rubber band with heaps of stretch. With braid, move your rod tip 2 metres and that's about how far the hook should move. That reduced susceptibility to water drag is one reason I often hold my rod tip down low and point it almost straight at my bait when I'm fishing the beach. I want to minimise the amount of belly and slack between me and a biting fish. I want to know what's going on out there in the wash, and when I detect a decent bite, I want to be able to make a strong, positive hook set. Bang! Got him on. Of course, once a fish is hooked, braid's also different. That lack of stretch means you feel everything. Every head shake and tail beat, every lunge and every jump. It's an incredibly tactile and direct experience. Now that's not everyone's cup of tea, but personally, I love this direct connection between me and the fish. It's what I live for and I find it so exciting. Of course, that super tight connection can result in pulled or straightened hooks, broken lines, even broken rods. You need to make allowances and to build some sort of cushioning into the system. For me, that takes the form of longer, lighter rods, drags set a tad lighter than they would be with mono, and the incorporation of a reasonably long mono leader into my rig, at least a rod length, joined to the braid with an FG, a Slim Beauty, a double uni, or some other trustworthy knot that will pass easily through the guides when I cast. Even more important than all of those things, however, is a set of soft hands and the ability to soak up peaks in the line pressure by quickly lowering the rod, pushing your arms forward, or even taking a few steps towards the hooked fish. This is especially important in the closing stages of any encounter, when you're trying to actually beach that fish. Water drag from receding waves can very quickly spike up the pressure on hooks, knots, leaders and line. This is when most fish are lost in the surf. Take your time. Use the surge to your advantage, pulling or sliding the fish up with each incoming wave and letting it drag or swim back down with the receding wave. Be patient, keep steady pressure and use the sea to your advantage. Do this and success will almost always be yours. I reckon there are a heap of myths about beach fishing. You don't need to be able to cast over the horizon to catch fish. You don't need a rod like a telephone pole, a huge reel and thick springy nylon line to do it, nor sinkers the size of small boat anchors. Lighten everything up. Hold your outfit rather than dropping it in a rod holder. Feel what's going on and react to it. If your rig starts dragging or washing along the beach, walk with it to stay in touch. If the surge pulls hard on the bait, release some line to let it pull further out to sea. If it washes in towards you and creates slack, use the reel to pick that slack up until you're back in touch with your bait again. It's all very hands-on and dynamic. It shouldn't be a sit-and-wait game, staring patiently at a bent rod tip sitting in a holder and willing it to suddenly buckle over. Keep your outfit in your hands, follow your bait and react to what's happening out there. This is a far more effective way to fish the surf, and it's also a lot more fun. And in my book, it's greatly facilitated by the use of fine braided lines rather than thick stretchy mono. Nice. You certainly don't have to agree with me, but at least have a think about it and even consider giving braid a go in the surf if you haven't done so already. I reckon you might be in for a very pleasant surprise. Anyway, time for me to clean my fish. I'll catch you next time, and until then, tight lines.